All right, so this is my video reply to the question that you had posed to me on Reddit. So I'm going to do a couple of things in this video. First of all, I'm going to talk about the piece that you played, because I told you how much I enjoyed your playing, and so I'd like to unpack a little bit of why I liked it. And I've got a couple of suggestions on things you could do to improve that already fantastic playing. And then the question that you had asked is, when you've got higher tempo pieces, how can you bring them up to speed, play them evenly and accurately? And I've got a suggestion for that, and I'm going to workshop it a little bit with a piece that I'm learning myself, because it might give you some suggestions on things that you could do when you're tackling those faster pieces. So first of all, in terms of your playing, I know you talked about technique. I just love your setup. The arms are even, your fingers are beautifully curved, nice upright posture. You're sitting at a good height at the keyboard. So all of the kinds of things that people ask about on Reddit, I'm going to send them to you next time I see somebody asking those questions, because I think your posture is great. I love that you sit down, you pause for a moment, right? Ready yourself to play. You bring your hands to the instrument and then you begin. Wonderful. It's poised playing. Matters. It really matters to get that good clean start. And then at the end, you play that chord, whatever it is, and the hands come up. And people may tease you, say, oh, you're being so dramatic. But I think when you do this, you're playing the pause. So you're feeling the music, you are timing that pause. And if some of that is just you enjoying that last chord, then so be it. So I really like that about your playing. The other thing is the left hand in this is tricky, and it'd be easy to botch. And I could hear a lot of, sometimes I'll hear people kind of, you get these accents, particularly when you're coming up and hitting the thumb. And so you've got the perfect balance in your left hand, because you've got those rich bass notes, and then those alternating figures, just going ba-da-ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba-da-ba. They're there, they're just a little babbling stream, right? They're heard, they fill in the harmony, they create some momentum, but they're not overpowering the rest of it. It's the bass that sings through. And I like it's the tempo of one. The tempo of the piece is not this 2, 3, do ba dee ba dee, but no, it's do ba dee ba da ba, do ba dee ba da ba, ba da ba da ba. So that bass note is providing that propulsion, bum, 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 and then those other guys just sit in there, and if it just feels like one long beat. So you're playing that really beautifully. You've got good balance between your hands. Again, sometimes the left hand tends to overshadow. What I would say though, there's a couple of points, and I'm going to exaggerate, but at the beginning, it's something like this. This is kind of a typical rock and roll thing. You get a chord and you're muscling with you've got those chords need to be heard. So you can do that. So bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. Maybe relax on some of those. Or you could do it in reverse and grow them somewhere. So you can start off quiet. And then come down. Or wherever it goes. So think about that. There's a lot of places, whether it's the chord, or in the single note melody, you come back to certain notes, and so particularly if they repeat, you want to make sure that they are present, they have prominence, but that they're not that the tone is still it's not a harsh tone. Okay, so do work on that. The only other thing I thought about the piece, and again, it's so beautifully played, and then it comes to this chord at the end. So it's something like. And you do such a beautiful slow down, and then we get to this chord, and I'm like, it's like it just kind of fell off the edge. And so I don't know what to suggest, but it doesn't satisfy me at the end. So maybe you rolled, almost feel like you've had all these rich bass notes. So maybe too dramatic? I don't know. There's something about it. I'm not sure what's missing. Maybe it's the voicing of the chord. I think that chord has an E flat. Maybe we want to hear a bit more of that E flat. Because that's the note that people want to resolve down to there and they don't get it. So is that it? Maybe we want more of the B flat on the top. I think the chord needs a bit more presence. So think about that. That's that dramatic ending. And the way you play it, it's as though that last note was inevitable. That's how you want to end a piece. So that was very well done. Okay. So enough about the piece now. I want to turn to the question that you had asked, which is about how you can bring pieces up to higher tempos and play them with evenness. And so I'm going to illustrate with the piece that I'm working on right now. It's by Chopin. And this is a high tempo piece. There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm just in the process of learning it. So I'm going to play it for you now, just 4 bars. And I'm going to push the tempo. I'm going to push the tempo beyond where I'm comfortable. Okay, here we go. And we'll see what happens. That's enough. Not bad. You heard some mistakes in there, didn't you? Yeah. And that's what happens. So the first thing I do with this, so step 1 is, as I've learned the notes, I know what the notes are now. I don't need to look at the music. So I push the tempo beyond where I'm comfortable, and that will reveal where my problems are. Now, one of the problems is in the right hand, so I want to unpack this and I want to talk about fingering. Because if you're looking for evenness and accuracy, fingering is one of the things that can either help or hinder how you're doing it. So forgive my bad camera work here, but I want you to be able to see what's going on with my right hand. So for this passage, that makes sense that I would start with a 2 and then cross the thumb under and do. But now what do I do? The next note is a C. So my thumb's on a B. I could, 2's right there, and then have to get back down there. I don't like that. So what I actually worked out, I thought, what if I did 5? So from thumb on the B to a 5 on the C. Is that allowed? But what I like about it is look where my hand is now. It's in this really ready position. I can play those last notes without my hand even moving. And that's really important. And then I'm right here again, ready to be on the F sharp. It works. Look how steady that hand is. Not having your hands moving around is really important. So the only question is thumb to 5 is really awkward. And I thought, can I actually do this at speed? So I would just work on it. Okay. And then look at the readiness of 2 to be there. So it did work. Now, I tried about 3 different fingerings before that, none of which worked. And so sometimes you're going to have to work at it again and again and again as you're doing those faster tempos. So that's the one thing I would suggest. So it's the fingerings and it's that readiness to play what comes next, because that's often what trips you up. Next thing, we want to look at the left hand. Different kind of problems. Here I've got leaps. Down to a bass note. This was a struggle. Easy to learn the notes, but bringing it up to tempo would fall apart. I would miss the notes. I would botch the lower note. So what I did is I started thinking, well, just slow it down and simplify it. So here, I thought one way to simplify it is to think about, it's the E flat down here, and just the top note of the chord. Those represent the 2 outer bounds of what I'm trying to tackle. So if I get that, and then when I take a look at it, again, speaking of readiness, now you can't see it, but my other 2 fingers have just naturally fallen to, they've fallen to the other 2 notes of the chord. Whoop. But just by focusing first on getting up to that C alone, and then adding in the other parts. The next one This one is actually tricky because you have a B flat down here, and it's not a solid chord, it's doo-doo. You have this little scoop thing at the bottom. So here I took the pinky, because the pinky actually has to go. So I just practiced that. And then eventually I get it. So then what I do, after I've done that, is I'll put it together again, but at a more comfortable tempo. And then I put it away for today. No more trying to push it up to tempo again. I'm gonna let that nice calm version stick in my head. My brain's gonna sort that out overnight. And I guarantee you I will come back and be able to play that cleaner tomorrow. Not perfect. And when I push the tempo again, it'll fall apart a little bit less. And I'm gonna rinse and repeat. And eventually I'm going to learn that passage. So these are the kinds of things that you can do as you're learning more advanced pieces that are at higher, trickier tempos. And if you take all of the other great stuff that you have in your playing, I think you're gonna do really well. So all the best, and I hope this video helps.